Welcome to Nutrition Lunch and Learn, and I am Sandra, your RDN, where every week I have the pleasure of dishing out your weekly dose of nutrition wellness news for your mind and your body and your soul. And I am honored to have this platform to speak with you, to share with you. Iron sharpens iron. So I am hoping that to serve as a blessing to each and every one of you, to help move you forward, to help you learn something that you might not have known before. There is always something to learn. No matter how many books you read about nutrition, trust me, there is always something to learn, okay? And here you're going to get evidence-based information that will help move you forward. And I thank you for tuning in live. I thank you for listening to the replay and taking some time out. Hopefully, those who are listening live, you're having a little lunch, you are relaxing, you're kind of detoxing, getting ready for the second half of your day. All right. And so, we are in July, and we are starting a new theme called Manage a Social Life Without Gaining Weight. Okay. We all want to enjoy life. And it always seems like when we're trying to either lose weight or watch what we eat or get healthy, that's when our social calendar kind of kicks up, right? That's when things happen. And it's difficult because if you don't know the basics of nutrition, if you don't know the art of losing weight without feeling like you have to deprive yourself, then you're going to feel uncomfortable in situations where you're not quite in control. And so today we're going to kick things off with how alcohol sabotages weight loss and how to have your drink and to lose weight also. So going out, being on the social scene when you're trying to get healthy, as I had mentioned, whether to lose weight or maybe you're training for an event or maybe you just wanting to cut back on some things. It is a challenge, right? And so not only is peer pressure real, but there's also many temptations that even a willpower of steel cannot withstand. And so you don't have to choose between keeping up with your social circle and accomplishing your weight and health goals. Okay. We want to enjoy life. And so today I'm going to share 3 ways that alcohol impedes weight loss and to reveal how you can have your drink and to lose weight too, and not just lose weight, but to stay healthy. And so as you are tuning in, please share with me. Hey, say hello to me. Say hello, say hi, state your name, say where you're tuning in from, and hey, are you in this situation right now? Are you trying to lose weight? Are you trying to balance having a cocktail while you're trying to lose weight? And so a quick introduction of myself for those who do not know me. My name is Sandra Goldtree, and I am a registered dietitian, licensed nutritionist, and your accountability partner. And pulling from a variety of leading edge weight loss strategies and lifestyle strategies, I help adults to integrate these different strategies of eating healthier into their daily lifestyle, because that's what it's all about, making this a lifestyle, not something that's a band-aid, not something that's a short-term fix. We have to work through the ebbs and flows of life in order to make this thing a lifestyle. So, and the goal is to build habits that last for life, no matter what unexpected event happens in your life. That is the longer term goal, and it takes time to get there, okay? And that's why I'm your accountability partner. And so, as I mentioned, going out, being on the social scene when you're trying to get healthier, you're trying to do the right thing, right? Whether it's to lose weight or to train, again, it's a challenge. And so not only is peer pressure real, but the temptations are really real out there. And so part of it is fear of the unknown, okay? It's only natural to wonder, well, what food is going to get served at this event that I'm going to, okay? What if there's no good food options for me because I'm trying to make some changes here? Will I get tempted to eat food or have drinks that will not help me reach my goal? Okay, those are very natural, common fears and questions to ask when you are trying to make a change, okay? And so while there's nothing wrong with regularly pacing, you're practicing self-care by relaxing at home, you don't have to choose between enjoying life, going out, and accomplishing your weight loss goals, okay? And so I often discuss with my clients that you can have both. You can have both the social aspect of it and the healthy aspect of it, and that it doesn't have to come in the form of an all or nothing mindset. Okay, that is a huge mistake that many of us make. It's like we either gotta think that we're all in or we're not doing what we need to do, and that is not how this works. Okay, that is no fun. Okay, that's setting you up really for failure. So again, today we're talking about how alcohol sabotages weight loss. It can sabotage weight loss. How to create a balance. How can you have your drink and still lose weight? All right. And so, do you relate to this? Okay. So, if this is something that is relatable to you to lose weight, maybe you've lost weight, you've gained it all back, plus more. But if you relate to that, I think that's most of us in this situation. And so during the weight loss journey, it's incredibly important to learn the art of eating. Okay. You want to learn how to eat for the rest of your life, whether that's at home, whether that's at a restaurant, whether that is at an event, whether it's a celebration, whether it's a holiday, whether you're stressed, unfortunately, whether you're dealing with a death in your family, you still want to exercise a level of self-care. Okay. What we tend to do is kind of toss it all out until things subside. Okay. And that's when we get in trouble because guess what? It's hard to get back on, right? It's hard to get back on. And if you never really knew how to get back on track, then you are in this vicious cycle of depriving yourself and then overeating and losing weight and then gaining it back. All right. So the first way, let's talk about alcohol. So the first way that alcohol impedes weight loss is, let's talk about that. All right. Alcohol is used as a primary source of fuel. Bet you never heard that before. Alcohol is used as a primary source of fuel. So normally when your body burns your fat reserves to get the energy that it needs, which is exactly what you want when you're trying to lose weight. That's what you want to happen. But the problem is when we drink alcohol while you're following a weight loss plan is that the alcohol provides quicker, more accessible form of energy for your body than fat does. Okay. So when alcohol is consumed, it is burned as a first fuel source before your body uses anything else. And this includes glucose from carbohydrates or lipids from fats. Okay. And so why does this happen? So the body will always go for the quickest and the easiest energy source for fuel. And fat isn't the fastest way. Okay. It's a process for breaking that thing down. And so when your body is using alcohol as a primary fuel or a primary source of energy, then the excess glucose and the lipids end up, unfortunately, stored as adipose tissue or fats, okay, which is what we don't. So this is alcohol in excess, okay? Now, this is not just, oh, you have a drink and all of a sudden this is going to happen. So it's a lot involved there. So I'm just kind of giving you a little background there. All right, and so are you surprised to hear that alcohol is used as a primary fuel source in the body, that is the primary fuel that it will burn first, okay? So that's something to just kind of keep in the back of your mind, but also know that drinking can fit into a healthy eating pattern, okay? So there's always the flip to this, all right? All right, so the second one, okay? So the second way that alcohol impedes our weight loss is alcohol affects our judgment call. So we know this. It affects our judgment call, especially with food, okay? And so even with the most modest, the most committed diet fan, okay, will have a hard time fighting the urge to indulge when we're intoxicated, okay? And so alcohol lowers our inhibitions and can lead to poor decision making, okay? In the heat of the moment. Primarily. So especially when it comes to food choices, all right? And this is why it's not safe to drink and drive, right? Because it is going to impact our reaction time. It's going to impact our decision-making time. And so, however, the effects of alcohol surpasses even social drinking etiquette. So studies continue to support that alcohol can actually trigger hunger signals in the brain, leading to an increased urge to eat more, okay? So there are a few exceptions, but for the most part, that's how it affects us. We get munchy. So when you're indulging in alcohol, do you tend to eat more or eat less? Okay. We will see some people that will say they eat less because I have heard where some people say, they don't get hungry. However, when that appetite kicks in, guess what? It kicks in strong. So what about you? If you're not currently overindulging in alcohol, reflect on back when you did. Because I know a lot of us, we kind of passed that stage in our life. So think about when this did happen. And then every now and then we kind of slip up because as we drink less, it doesn't take much for us to, sometimes we can feel like our inhibitions can go down with just one drink, especially if we don't drink on a regular basis. So do you eat more or do you eat less? when you overindulge a little bit too much in alcohol. Okay. All right. So let's talk about the third way that alcohol impacts or impedes our weight loss. So it can negatively affect our sleep. Okay. And so it's estimated that as many as 20% of Americans have an alcoholic drink to help them fall asleep. Okay. According to the National Sleep Foundation. But when the booze and snooze effect can prompt sleepiness, it tends to sabotage the quality of your overall sleep pattern. Okay, so you may drift away a little faster. There are many other ways to handle that. Okay, I work with my clients a lot about our evening routine because we do a lot of things that stimulate us, and that's the reason why we are not able to fall asleep. But the booze and the snooze effect can prompt you to go to sleep faster. However, the quality of your sleep is typically impacted. Okay, you may not sleep as well as you could have, or not as restful. Some people get really thirsty in the middle of the night if they have too much to drink right before bed. So this is going to interrupt your sleep cycle or your sleep rhythm, okay? That wake sleep cycle, all right? And so it will block the restorative REM sleep, and it will aggravate breathing problems for some people. And like I said, it will also make some people very thirsty. So some to the point where it does wake them up. So sleep deprivation, whether it's in the form of lack of sleep or impaired sleep, can lead to an imbalance in your hormones related to your hunger, satiety, and fat stores. So basically just going to throw off all those hormones that regulates appetite and that regulates our weight. Okay. So knowledge there for you. Like I said, there's always something to learn, always something to learn. All right. So what is your primary reason? If you're somebody who has a little alcoholic nightcap in the evenings, what is your primary reason for doing that? And if you're not a drinker, say NA, not applicable. So maybe are you doing it because you for a nightcap? Are you doing it to wind down from a stressful day? Just because it's very common in certain cultures, it is very common to have a glass of wine with dinner every night. Just depends. So state that maybe it's part of your culture. Maybe it's part of family tradition. Okay. So what is your reason? So it's not a bad thing or a good thing. It's neither one. It's just a matter of a matter of how your body is responding to it in the proper way to make it fit into a healthy lifestyle to where it's not impeding important things that are going to impact your health goals and your weight loss goals. Okay. So what's the big takeaway message? So how do you have your drink and lose weight too? Okay. So that is the question, right? How do we have our drink and how do we lose weight too? So while cutting out alcohol completely out of your diet isn't necessarily the only way to lose weight, if you're not a drinker, don't start. That's great. But there are many improvements that can be made in your health journey by simply cutting back on alcohol. So moderation is key. And so we hear moderation a lot. You know, moderate drinking fits into a healthy eating pattern. Well, what does moderation really mean? That's the bottom line. And it's different for men and it's different for women, unfortunately. So for men, 2 drinks a day, and for women, 1 drink a day. Okay. And it has nothing to do with our ability to drink more. It's just a matter of the enzymes in our body that break down alcohol. It's more prevalent in men than in women. So that's why that guideline is in place from a health perspective. And so what does a drink mean? There is a definition of a drink. Okay. And so basically a shot of liquor, which is usually about an ounce, is considered a drink. With wine, about a 4-ounce pour. Okay. And then and then you're cutting out the excess calories from chasers and sodas and things like that. Okay. And again, I always like to point out this caveat is a drink a day for a woman, 2 drinks a day for men, but it does not queue up into the weekend. So for a woman, you don't have 5 extra drinks on Saturday, okay? And you don't have 10 extra drinks men on Saturday. So it doesn't work that way. So it's like some jobs at vacation. You don't use it, you lose it. So that's kind of how that works. And so think about that. So think about social events, and do you feel a little fear and do you feel a little anxiety when you're trying to do the right thing, so to speak? Do you need help on how to prepare, how to eat leading up to those social events? Because that makes a difference in the world as far as what are the things you're doing before that event happens. Because once you get to the event, are you able to make controlled choices and informed choices, or are you going there starving and you just want to eat everything that you see because you saved up calories? So that's a danger that we make. I get asked often, well, how do I save calories before I go to an event, or what do I eat, or how do I eat before going to the event? Okay, so I have a guide and a plan that would help you. And so feel free to download my free meal plan and guidebook. It's called Jumpstart Your Weight Loss and Boost Your Energy Levels. This will give you ideals of some some breakfast ideals, some snack ideals, some lunch ideals. It really depends on the time of your event. If it's not to the evening, you still should have lunch and dinner. I mean, you should have breakfast and lunch if your event is not until dinner time. And then if it's maybe an afternoon, still have breakfast. It's very rare you're going to skip breakfast. Even if you're having a brunch, I still say, hey, you can have a pre-breakfast snack, because generally that brunch is not to 10, 11 o'clock. If you're waking up at 7-ish, you still need to eat something so that you're not showing up at that event starving and impeding your metabolism, so that's just slowing down all your systems. So I recommend downloading this. It's 5 days of meals. You got all meals, you got snacks, they're easy to prepare, they're fast, and you have a meal prep guide. And this is good for those who are not so kitchen savvy, or many of us need help with planning and prepping foods. People don't understand, well, how do I do it? It's stressful. It takes a lot of time. So this will give you some guidelines on how to prepare, how to plan, how to prep, where you're not doing something every single day, or you're not having to do the whole 7-day week in one day. So it breaks things up to make things manageable. And one goal that I hope that you get is the benefits of grabbing and go. When you're in the midst of your week, we never know what's going to come up, but it is so helpful, and it is such a lifesaver when you can grab and go, versus, oh, you got to take out these containers, you got to take out these pots, and you have to make a plate, and you have to do this, and you have to prepare your snacks, and you have to cut and dice and all this. You don't want to have to do that every day. So the more you can plan, the more you can prep in advance, the better you are. And the process gets easier. As with anything that's new, yes, it's going to take a little time, but once you get a routine and you keep going, repetition is golden, right? And no difference with this, okay? It's no different. And you're making yourself a priority, which is going to spill over to how you feel. It's going to keep your energy levels going. It's going to keep your metabolism up. And it's going to keep you losing weight if that's what your goal is. It's going to help you to maintain weight if that's what your goal is. So that is what I have for you today. This concludes what I have for your nutrition news for your mind, your body, and your soul. Thank you for tuning in for today's Nutrition Lunch and Learn. I am Sandra, your RDN, and we're going to continue next week on this topic on how do you maintain a social life? How do you keep living while you are trying to eat healthier and to lose weight, maintain weight, etc. Okay, so we're going to talk next week about 4 keys to enjoy dining out without the unwanted weight gain. So there's always some little tricks and caveats to eating out, okay? But we want to feel comfortable doing that and not doing it in fear and not wondering, did I order the right thing type deal. So we're going to talk more about how to dine out and enjoying yourself. All right. So thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you listening and tuning in, and blessings. And I will see you next week. Bye-bye.